Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome, Mary. I am just going to, now we can go live. It's going to work. It's going to work. And here we go. So, hi everybody. Welcome. So, this is episode 6. I'm so excited to have Mary here with us. Mary Z. What is your last name? I totally forgot. Zilberman.
Zilberman. Yes. Hi. Hi.
Hi. And we are talking about intuitive energy balancing. And which is fantastic because as much as I'm always talking to you guys about getting to the root and figuring out, what is at the deepest level of our problems that we can't seem to figure out for whatever reason, Mary is going to talk to us about how to uncover those energetic roots that's the cause of our physical issues, our mental issues, our emotional issues. And Mary was telling me that if she had all her certificates, she could create a whole wallpaper of all her skills and tools. So I'm excited that she's here to share some of that with us. Because like me, Mary was telling me that she loves to dabble in the side of the spiritual, but having scientific proof, right, Mary?
Yeah,
Making
absolutely.
sure that it all makes sense. And even the stuff that doesn't make sense, it's okay. Because when you realize that really, even at the root of that, at the stuff that doesn't make sense, we're open to exploring that. So I hope you open your mind to a whole world of alternative stuff today, because that's what we're talking about when it comes to, healing. And we're, Mary, we're talking to a group of women who are over 40 years old. They've been there, done that. They've tried it. So we're going
Perfect.
to,
Right kind of
bring
people.
them a whole different type of healing possibility, right? What lights you up about this type of work?
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about myself. So, I am a software developer by trade. So I am
Mm-hmm.
very logical. I need to feel it, touch it, smell it, taste it, or it doesn't exist. Or at least I used to be that way. And I did very well. I had a career, I had a profession. I was very respected in my field. But I was also severely depressed. I spent over 20 years severe depression. It was functional because I was able to get up in the morning and go to work and do all the things I needed to do. But then at 3 a.m., I'd be wide awake thinking, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Everyone looking outside in would think I have this perfect life. I have a job, I have a family that loves me, I have friends, I have seemingly had everything. But what is wrong with me? Why can't I shake this feeling? And I'm not a passive person. Like, I won't just expect things to happen for me, right? So I went to therapy for years and years, different therapists. I tried medication. I tried meditation. I tried, they said, clean up your diet, get rid of all the processed foods. I went on completely clean, diet, just taking everything out of my system. It's all these toxins, detox. I did, the really cold baths, the ice cold baths. I tried hot showers. I mean, I tried everything. And I won't tell you that nothing helped. Some things helped a little bit, but nothing really made an impact. And, I'll be honest, there were some nights when I was laying there thinking, what is the point? What is the point? If this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life, why do I even bother waking up? And I was thinking, how does this impact my family? How does this impact my work performance? Because going to work the next day, I wasn't all that I could be, right? Because I was tired, frustrated, sleepy, just from not sleeping. How does it impact my family? How does it impact my friendships? And I was worried that it's really taking its toll. And so one day, my friend told me about energy healing. And I was like, what is that? That's nonsense. What are you talking about? Energy healing, like whatever. And she said, try it. You tried everything else. What do you have to lose? And I thought, she's right. I did try everything else. So I went to have a session. And that session was literally life changing. Now, if I were to tell you that my depression went away after one session and never came back, that would be a lie. Okay. And if I am anything, I'm honest. No, it was not. But it wasn't that. But it was that missing puzzle piece that I needed to look at everything from a different perspective. And it was mind blowing. And I said, oh my gosh, this works. This really works. This thing that I can't see, touch, or smell, it really works. And so I made it my life mission to learn all I can about energy healing and energy balancing and bring it to people and to tell people that there are options out there that they may not be aware of. And don't forget, a lot of times, a lot of like we're women, we're caretakers, right? We always take care of people. A lot of times we're embarrassed to tell our loved ones how depressed we really are, how sad we really are, because we think that we are the cornerstone of a family, right? We need to be strong. We can't tell them. And people sometimes don't even understand. If you've never been depressed, you don't know what it really feels. And they could be offering advice that's not extremely helpful, well intended, but not helpful. And also, yes, and all, oh, number of times I was told to just think positive when I was at my worst. And I know
Yeah.
people meant well, but you know what? It's not how it works. It's not how it works. And a lot of times, and I know I'm talking about depression, but this is just like where I come from. Depression could have symptoms that we're not aware of, like we don't associate with depression, like
Yeah.
memory issues or sensory issues. Like you can suddenly find yourself you're not able to be in a loud place. That could be a sign of depression that we don't know about. There are a lot, heightened sensory sensitivities,
Hmm.
risk-taking behavior, a lot increased irritability or anger, all of these things. So, anyways, after that one session, I was like, okay, I need to do this. I need to tell people it exists. I need to get trained. I need to learn. And because I'm a perfectionist, I now have, like you said, gazillion certificates.
A wall full.
Um, yes, a wall full of certificates. And the reason I do this, it's not because it's like a new shiny thing that I need to learn. No, it's because I believe that we're all very different, just like we have different, what do you call that? The fingerprints. That's not, when I work with clients, I tailor my session specifically for that client. So the more tools I have, the more I'm able to do that, to customize my session so no session is alike. And so that my clients get the most out of their sessions that yields fastest results. They feel something, they feel a difference, even after one session. Again, if somebody comes to me with chronic pain that they've had for 30 years, one session will not reduce that pain, but they may reduce it a little bit. They may
Hmm.
feel a little different. They may feel something's shifting. And I always check in, and people always say, I feel different. I feel a difference. I feel a shift. Something's changing. Something's shifting. Something's not the same. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. I'm so passionate about. We talk about this for days. The first method I got certified in, that's the session I actually had for myself that blew my mind. It's called the Emotion Code. It was created in the 90s by a chiropractor called Dr. Bradley Nelson, who realized that clients kept coming to him for treatments and he would adjust the person and they would feel great and they would come back next week with the same exact issue. And so he was questioning himself. He was thinking, what am I doing wrong? I know I'm doing it right. I do the adjustment. They feel the difference. They feel great. They come back. And so he realized that just like this is where you need to keep an open mind. We're all made of the same energy, right? We're all made of the same stuff. If I take my hands and I put it in a microscope, under the microscope, and I magnify it gazillion million times, what am I going to see? Atoms. Nothing but atoms, right? We all vibrate at different frequency, but we're all made out of the same atoms. And if I take this beautiful cup that I drink out of and I put it under the same microscope, what am I going to see? The same exact atoms. Yes, configuration is different. Yes, it's not the same. We're not, obviously, I'm not the same as the cup, but we're all made of the same stuff, which means we're all energy. Our thoughts are energy. Everyone knows that we have an energy body, the aura. Everyone talks about these nowadays, right? We're not just this meat suit, I don't like that term, but this is what they say. We're not just the physical body.
I love that. We're a
We have,
spirit in a meat suit, right? That's what we are.
yes,
We're energy.
it
We're
seems a little like
energy.
this phrase rubs me the wrong way a little bit, but this is what they're saying. Yes,
Yeah.
you're spiritual, you're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is just like, this is what we look, this is a suit that we'll wear. Point is, every emotion, every feeling you've ever had and experienced, you could feel it and let it go, or you could get stuck in your energetic body, creating
Hmm.
a blockage. Why do people go to acupuncturists, right? Why did acupuncture, what do they do? Have you ever seen an acupuncture treatment? Yes, I'm sure everyone has, or have heard of it. They take needles. You come in and you say, I have a headache. They take a needle and they put it on your foot. And you think to yourself, why my foot? Because we have energetic highways that are running through our entire system, just like we have blood vessels that bring blood to every organ, cell, tissue in your body. We have energetic highways. That's my dog walking behind me. That's not energy. Uh, we have energetic highways that bring energy to every cell, organ, tissue in our body. And if this energy gets stuck, it can't flow fluently. Well, and if it can't flow, you could have physical issues. You could have
Mm-hmm.
emotional issues. You could have mental issues. So
Right.
just like acupuncturists unclog that energy, I could unclog that energy by identifying these trapped emotions that are sitting in there, creating the blockage.
Right. So what you're saying is that the chiropractor realized that it was the emotion that was getting stuck in
Exactly.
the body,
It
right?
was
So
the
the
energy that was getting stuck.
yes,
Correct.
the
Yes.
energy of the emotion, because even the emotions that we
Correct.
feel has energetic
Exactly.
frequency, right? Like
Absolutely.
anger,
Absolutely. Everything.
resonate,
Everything.
and that's what causes disease, right? People, as much
100%.
as
Yes.
you think food causes disease, it does, but so do thoughts, so do feelings, stuff that's stuck in the body.
100%.
So that's what that chiropractor realized. Chiropractor's like, okay, so he
Yes.
created the emotion code to help move
Yes.
emotion out in a different way. And that's the other thing too.
Exactly.
I love this because you can address issues physically, go straight to the body. That maybe that will work temporarily for a little while. But then you're like, okay, but if you don't address the emotion or the root cause,
The
the
root
energetic
cause.
of
Yes.
that pain, because pain stands for pay attention inward now, right? Then you're not going to get, then you need to get to the root of the emotional code. So that's what that is. You need to get to understand, because yeah, you go to the chiropractor, you feel good, and then you go home and you're a stressful environment and you tense up for another week, and then you go back to the chiropractor and it's like this band-aid. I hate to say
Yeah.
it, but
No, it's
you
true.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what I say, sometimes I say it to people, and some people think it's funny. Some things people think it's rude. I say that I'm an energetic plumber. I unclog your pipes. I get the gunk out of your
Yeah.
energetic pipes so that
The
your energy
energetic
could flow
highways,
smoothly.
the
Yes,
meridians, right? The meridians in our
exactly.
body.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
so that same chiropractor, so that was the session that I had for me. It was mind blowing. And emotion code deals strictly with emotions, trapped emotions that you don't even know you have, because some of them could be inherited. Just like you inherit your hair color and eye color and skin color from your parents, you inherit these emotions. You could
Hmm.
also not just inherit, but let's say your mom is pregnant with you and she's feeling stuff, right? You could absorb that from your mom when she was pregnant with you. You could
Hmm.
share emotions. You could, people who not during 9/11, people who were standing there watching the towers fall. They all share, they don't know each other, but they share the same panic and fear and anxiety and whatever else they
COVID,
felt.
like COVID, the whole trauma
Yes,
of COVID
exactly.
was
Also,
global.
you could
The whole
absorb, yeah,
world.
yeah, you could absorb emotions. So let's say your best friend comes over and she says, I'm leaving my husband. He's abusive. He's hitting me, right? It's not happening to you, but because this is your best friend and you're empathetic, you feel for her, you could absorb her emotions, the fear, the panic, the whatever else she's feeling, the anger. So now
Mhm.
you walking around with this energetic trapped emotion that wasn't even yours to begin with.
Right.
So you want to
Yeah.
get it out. You want to get it
Yeah.
out. You don't want
Past
to walk.
life. I don't know how woo woo we're going to go here, Mary, but past life, right?
Yes. Oh my
Past
God.
generation
Oh my
comes through
goodness.
past
Yes.
generations, right? Like, so when we're pregnant, like with a girl, let's say, right? Like our
Hmm.
grandmothers carried us in their womb, because if I have a baby, a girl, I am creating, even I am energetically, her eggs, her ovaries, all of that is being, created inside of me. So my emotional state during pregnancy is so critical. And I didn't even know this when I was pregnant, but I remember having a fight
I
with my
didn't know this
husband.
when I was pregnant. Yeah.
When I was having a fight with my husband one time, and it was like New Year's Eve, and I was like 5 months, I was nice and plump, and my mom was like, "You got to stop. Your health, your health is so important." I remember my mom saying that, like, put it aside, let this go, because Lori, you're pregnant, like you're vulnerable, you can't be. And she didn't specifically say because you're programming your great great grandchildren, but it was to that same effect, that our
Yes.
emotions affect in the womb. So
Everything.
in the womb, past generation and past life, things get passed down to us. So it doesn't, like you said, doesn't have to necessarily be now. So, oh, right, I was saying, like, so when you have a girl and you, or even a boy, have testes and sperm and whatever
Mhm.
else, we are energetically programming them, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, like generations and generations. Like, it's messed up. Like, right? So
Yeah.
if you have a
Yeah.
stressful pregnancy or, a terrible relationship, and women start to become very vulnerable when they're pregnant,
Yes.
right? So it more than ever. And not even just because you have an abusive relationship, you just become vulnerable, you become insecure, you become like you're going through this huge transformation, let alone the
It's
hormones
hormonal
or
too. It's
whatever, right?
hormonal. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so paying attention to that,
And the thing
are
about like these methods, right? These emotions that we potentially could trap, they don't have to be huge. They don't have to
no.
be.
Yeah.
They just have to be important to you in the moment. Like, for example, I have one client, we were doing a session and emotion of panic and fear and anxiety kept coming up. And I am very intuitive. So in this work, and I use a method called muscle testing, which is applied kinesiology. You
Yep.
test for yes and no answers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like no woo woo, no dancing with the stick. It's just me asking your subconscious mind with permission for
Mm-hmm.
answers. So,
Yep.
anyways, I kept testing, and I was getting that he was experiencing all these things around the age of 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept getting an image in my mind's eye. I kept getting an image of a huge white dog, and I said, I'm seeing this white dog. Meanwhile, I knew this client never had any pets. So he says thought about it for a second. He goes, "Oh my goodness, I know exactly what this is. When I was 4 years old, I was in the mall with my parents, and I let go of my dad's hand for a second. And to 4-year-old, he thought he was lost, and somebody was walking the dog towards him, and he got really scared. Now, this is not a huge, overwhelming, life-altering event that happened, right? But it was scary to him for
But
his
to a
4-year-old,
4-year-old who's seeing an animal as big as him,
and
it's
let
relevant.
go of his dad's hand. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this got trapped, which he didn't think about. He never thought
Yeah.
about this until our session. He couldn't believe that this is coming up. And because I am communicating with his subconscious mind, his subconscious mind said, "This is the event. This is the event."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this." He
Yes.
never remembered. He never
I
thought about
love
it
this.
since,
I love this.
since he
And you
was
know what?
4.
I love, and this is, I love about repression because, like you were saying, the unconscious mind will repress a memory
Yes. To
until
keep you
it's
safe.
ready to deal with it.
To keep you
So
safe.
that's why all of a
Yes.
sudden you're like, shoot, this memory
Mhm.
comes up out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my God, I like totally forgot about that. It's because now is the time to bring it up. And when the unconscious
Yes.
has to feel safe to do that,
Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, so I love that. So we will repress things. And so when I talk to people about, uncovering the root or getting to the root or events, traumatic
Mhm.
events, and trauma is like a spectrum. It can be
Mhm.
everyone's trauma is a different level of whatever, but trauma's trauma. People, I find women especially, or even men, I think that we have this weird belief that they're going to tap into something like some terrible sexual assault or sexual abuse that, they're just thinking this consciously. It's not even really true. They're just afraid that they're going to
Mhm.
unleash this terrible
Unearth
memory.
something.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they hear about stuff like that from people like, oh, all of a sudden I remembered. I'm like, no, it could be as simple as a dog that you got scared of when you were 4 years old because you were four,
Yes.
or it could have been, going to school for the first day and, leaving your mom, your best friend, like those are the kind of like traumatic events of childhood. Yes, there's terrible trauma too, but trauma is trauma. So at 4 years old, 0 to 7, when you're at that imprinting age, bullies being, picked on at school, it doesn't have to be a huge traumatic event. So trust me when I say, when you start to uncover and go on this journey of uncovering energetic roots, be open minded. And even if terrible things come up, let them come up because it's time. Your body, in all the pain, pay attention, Edward, now, is telling you it's time. I feel safe. Go to this Mary chick, go to Lori, go to whoever it is, go
Whoever
to
it is,
it
but get
is.
help.
Go,
Yes.
if you're getting signs, if you're, you're seeing this coach, maybe you want to work with this coach. I don't know. Go and see them. Your unconscious is telling you that these are the people that can help you. Sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to interrupt, but I'm
No,
like,
no, no. That's
this
fine.
is where I'm like,
That's exactly right. Yes,
helps fill in
that's
the
exactly
gaps
right.
too. Because when I want to go back, Mary, too, when you were talking about, when you were asking yourself the question, like, what is wrong with me? Like all these things, you tried all these things. Every woman is the same. And you had said nobody wants to admit that maybe what they're experiencing is depression or whatever it is, because we're
There's a
literally trying
stigma.
so
There's a
hard.
stigma attached to mental health. You don't want to
There
talk about it.
is,
And you
there is,
also
but
don't want to keep telling your family, I'm miserable, I'm miserable, I'm
yes,
miserable. And they're
yes,
going to be
they
like,
say go do
okay,
something, go do
go do
something. Can you
something. But
not?
you already tried everything. What else is
Yes,
there to
doing
do?
it. Yeah. So you
Yes.
know what, ladies, like you're not alone. You are not
No,
alone. You know what I mean? But there is something in your past that is ready to be released and let go of, that's going to give you the relief, the happiness, the joy, the peace of mind, for the love of fucking God, the peace of mind that you need to start being grateful for the great life that you have, that everybody has. They know, they're like, I have this great life. Why am I so miserable? Because there's some deeper healing that you need to do. That's it.
exactly.
It can
That's
really,
it.
it can be that simple. If you
That's it.
overcomplicate it and, like really drag it on for years and years and years and years, well, there's a whole nother story there too. But if you are on the lookout for trying to find something, and because you're not happy and your children are suffering and you're not giving your family the best version of you,
Do something.
go
Do
deeper,
something. Do
dive
something.
in, go and see the alternatives. If you're trying all the things
Hmm.
and you're still feeling the chronic pains, like, and I'm curious, I wanted to ask you, like,
Yeah.
how old were you when you were asking yourself these deep questions?
Oh, I mean, I was doing that for decades. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was like,
Mhm.
what, I can't, I don't know what to do with myself.
Right.
You
So it
know,
was
I,
beyond like perimenopause or
oh, no,
menopause,
no, no, no. This is, we're
anything like
talking
that.
about 20s and 30s and early 40s. And then it just wouldn't go away. It wouldn't go away until I tried something completely, out there, but I didn't know it existed. It's not like I
And you
ignored it.
don't have to share, Mary.
Yeah.
I'm not asking this probing question. But did you have your own realization of like a past
Yes.
event at like whatever age? Like did it come to you
Yes.
and you were like, "Oh my
Yes.
God."
Yes.
Okay. So you experienced it too. Obviously, usually people who experience it
And you
then
know what
become,
it was? And exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to
sure,
be
if you
very,
want
very
to share
traumatic.
it.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal to other people. And I always talk about this as an example. I was 5 years old. Okay. I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought somebody broke into the house. And all it was my mom getting up to get a glass of water. But
Oh.
a little 5 year old me, did not know that that's what was happening. So what I experienced was fear. And again, fear, panic, anxiety, all of that. I tracked it in one quick second. Then I realized that I'm safe. My mom, it's just my mom. But that got stuck. And it was sitting there. And you know what that happened? You know what happens when you have that trap? It's creating more of the same because you have this vibrational energy that is attracting more of the same. So I was attracting more fear, more panic, more anxiety. I grew up very fearful of everything. That's what I was, and I was sending out signals, broadcast signals, right? Something our subconscious mind sends out that we're not aware of. I am afraid. I am afraid. I am scared. Distracting
Or make
more and more.
sure you're safe. Like it's more like,
Yes, keep me
you
safe.
know,
I need to, and I
like
never felt
do
safe
things to
anywhere.
feel safe. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, you know what? I've worked with clients like I do things. I do my things very very differently, but still muscle
Hmm.
testing. So still using the body. But I've had people. I love when I work with people and they have immigration stories. Like they
Yes.
immigrated at a young age with their parents, and like that was very traumatic. Like so many variations of childhood trauma that isn't the worst, but
Absolutely.
enough
Enough.
that it
Exactly.
creates, a
Exactly.
pattern, like you said, that
Exactly.
energetic thing, right? And you know what? Everybody friggin' has it.
Everybody has it.
Like,
Look, I've been
everybody
doing this
has
for
it.
years and I still have it. And I go to my mentor and I
Yeah.
ask her for sessions because I can't work. on myself. I mean, there's some things I could do, but when I
Yeah.
really start getting to this trapped emotion stuff, I can't work on myself. I am too close. I am too
Yes, of
emotionally
course.
invested. So
Yes,
I
yes,
go to my mentor and I say, "Can I have a session?" And she comes to me. I do her
yes.
sessions and she does mine. We,
I love that. I
because
love exchange work in
you
my
can't,
field as
yeah,
well. I don't think I would have gotten to the place I am right now in my life, mentally, emotionally, or whatever else without it. And I'm so grateful for that ability. So same, like, and it never ends, right? Because we're like onions, and as soon as you clear away
exactly.
one layer, that's great. That's a new level. Like, we're on this journey of discovery, of
Mhm.
evolving, of becoming the best version of ourselves and who we're meant to be. And so I always say next level, next devil, because it's something else. So
You
you're gonna
never
be
know what you're gonna find.
you're
Yep.
like, I just did that. I'm like, when your unconscious knows that you are willing to do that deep work, shit will come up
Oh my
fast
gosh.
and
Oh
often
my
because it's
gosh.
like, here we go, work on
Mhm.
this. Here we go.
Yep.
Oh, you want to go there? You want to do this? Okay, you got to clear this first. Oh, first we have to let go of this limiting belief. And they're all limiting beliefs. They're not
There.
truths, right?
There.
So, oh, next you got to go here. You know what I mean? Like, I've been doing this work since 2014 when I really had my first experience. And like since then, like the mind-blowing um realizations of layers of like next level, whatever else. Like,
Mhm.
I love it. And my unconscious is so primed, so it's so ready. It's always,
Yes.
and so it's like, and it's uncomfortable. You're like
Yeah.
everyone, and this is what I love
Yes.
about life, and how we're all so unique in that we all share the fact that we're all struggling with something. That's how unique we are. So all different things. That's what makes us unique, but we're all struggling with something
Absolutely.
in some area of
Something.
our life, right? Like, cuz we need
Yes.
that duality. We need
Yes.
that. Like how you were saying, like everything is perfect in my life, but I feel like shit. Like, why, right? We need that duality. That terribleness is there to show you what you need to be
What you need to
grateful
clear.
for,
Exactly.
and
And what you need to
well,
clear.
yeah, why you need to clear it,
Mhm.
right? So
Exactly.
when
So I had clients, I did talk about working with depression and anxiety, but I don't only do that. That's what I specialize in, but I work with a whole range of people. I had two women at the same time. It was funny because they didn't know each other. They were trying to get pregnant. One
Mhm.
was trying for 6 years and one was trying for 2 years. And the one that was trying for 6 years, she tried it. I mean, she tried everything, the in vitro and all of that. They got both pregnant at the same time. Now, I did not get them pregnant. Let's be clear on that. Their spouses got them pregnant. Okay. I had, but
But that's
we were
true to
able
fame, right?
to,
They'll say, Mary got me pregnant.
they were able to clear out in energetic imbalances that were
Hmm.
in the way of them
Like
conceiving.
what?
I
What
had
would like what
clients.
does that look like? Like, what would be an energetic imbalance? Like, what have you
So
seen
for
happen?
them, so then, okay, so the emotion code, I talked about this. Then the same chiropractor, Dr. Bradley Nelson, took it further, and he created a modality called the body code, which addresses not just the trapped emotions, which is the underlying cause, but it looks through your body and it clears out the nutritional imbalances, pathogen, toxicity, emotional. It goes through your chakras, it goes through your meridian. You know how people, me for example, I don't have a gallbladder. I had a gallbladder taken out, but there's an energetic imprint of it that always stays. That could still
Mhm.
be imbalanced. It doesn't mean that I have a gallbladder issue. It means I have an energetic imbalance in my gallbladder
Oh, that's
that
really
wants me
interesting. So because it was
what's
once sick,
yep.
even though it's taken out, that sick energy
Yes.
still there. That
Yes.
wasn't cleared out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wasn't
What
that?
about viruses and pathogens? You could get sick, right? With the virus and the virus is gone, but the energetic imprint is still there. Why is it still
Wow.
there? Because you have trapped emotions that are keeping it in place. So you need to clear out the trapped emotions. You need to clear out the virus. And suddenly you're recovering much faster from everything. Suddenly you feel much better. Suddenly you have so much more energy. So
How
we
does
were
that
specific
affect us? That trapped,
in a huge
unhealed.
way. In a huge way. It's like
Tell me.
imagine that you carrying this really, really heavy luggage that you don't know you're carrying, like a huge bag of bricks, right? You're carrying around with you and you're wondering why you're not feeling your best. But it's because you have this thing strapped to you. Um, what about, what about a heart wall? There's a concept of a heart wall. People wonder Why can I attract an ideal mate? Why can I sustain relationships, interpersonal relationships? Why things don't work out to me on the personal level? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when you were a little kid, or whenever that happened, right? The age is really not a factor in here. You were hurt, emotionally hurt, and you said to yourself, I will never feel this pain again. And so you started building an energetic wall around your heart, right? It's a protection. It's like a layer of protection. And you could have a different thickness depending on your life experiences and how sensitive you are to certain traumas. And, some people are more
A
sensitive, some
wall.
people
I thought you said
a
wolf,
wall.
but probably the
No,
same
no, no,
thing.
sorry, a wall. A
A
wall.
wall.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. Okay.
and so what happens is you don't get hurt again that way, but you don't let people in. You never let
No,
anybody
it's a
in.
dual. That wall is duality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
And
you
you
keep
don't love
people.
your fullest either.
Yes,
You
you
don't
you
love your
don't.
fullest either.
You don't. There is a trauma wall that you build when you have trauma. There is a body wall that
Hmm. And
when
that's
people
the
make
protection. Yeah.
a body wall would be more for like your physical appearance and weight loss and weight gain and how you feel in your body. Somebody makes a comment about, oh, you having a second cupcake, that you're gonna get fat. When you were like, no, I mean, I'm just saying, and you thinking, oh, wait, fat, no good. I don't want to get fat. I'm gonna build a body wall. So you keep
Hmm.
doing this, and all of these things they impact you in a huge, huge way. Imagine what it would feel like if you don't have, and everybody has a heart wall, I have to tell you. To some degree, everyone has that. I haven't met one person who does not have it. We all put up a certain layer of protection because nobody wants to be hurt. Nobody wants to feel pain. But imagine what it would be like when you're completely free of it and you could feel with all of your heart and you could love with all of your heart and you could let people in and let them
Yeah.
see the real
Yeah.
you and not
Yeah.
the filtered version of you.
Hmm. It's funny that you say that because I've done two kind of different therapies, and one I did a crystal healing thing, and she had said, Lori, your heart is a little closed, right? Which I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
heart wall.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then and then I was just having I went to like this women's coffee thing, and this lady, she does massage therapy, but she's very intuitive energetically like that. And she's like, you have something going on with your elbow. And I'm like, what's going on with my elbow? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, but that's what I'm picking up on. Like, I have no elbow pain, but how you're
You don't
talking
have to
right
have
now,
pain.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
don't need to
But
have
how
pain.
you're talking about right now, I'm like, it probably is like inflexibility. Like, but that's my conscious, maybe probably talking, but in knowing what I know about joints and all that shit. But
Yes.
so that's what I'm saying. So everybody has, like you were saying, some sort of little thing that energetically can be picked up on in some way, shape, or form. So do you do muscle testing for body code too, or is it do
Yes.
you use
Yes.
pendulums?
It's.
Like it's
I don't
muscle.
use. I can. I can, and I know I
Mhm.
use pendulums and other modalities. I use muscle testing because it's much faster, and I
Yeah,
just don't need to.
yeah,
The only time I would use a pendulum is if when I do past life.
right.
That's a whole
Mhm.
other modality altogether. And so, but I love that. I love all of them. There's not one that I prefer over another. The only reason why I bring up the emotion code, because that's where I started. And that's also where people feel immediate
Right.
difference. That's 1 30-minute session and you feel something's changed. You always feel something's changed. And this way, I like to introduce it to people and explain this is where how it came about. This is what I do, and see how you feel. And because this work takes time. This is not a one time. You know, one session doesn't fix
Fix.
anyone. Doesn't.
No, it's been
There's
there
no.
for a long time. It has to get used to, being like, oh,
Yes.
okay. Because there is patterns, right? We
Mm-hmm.
do run strategies. So like that protection strategy, like you said, you were running probably for a really long time of being
Yeah.
scared, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we have the trauma, it seals in our unconscious. And then now we run a pattern to stay safe for a long time. So that strategy has to
Mm-hmm.
get broken. And I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways that you can do that, but yeah, how it shows up is through pain in the body,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Or
Right.
emotional pain, or
Hmm.
emotional pain, or both, or both. how many people I had a client, one of my first clients, and I love when people are non-believers and I love converting them. That's my favorite thing in the world. She came to me and she said, I have chest pain. I have chest pain. I've went to all these doctors. They can't find anything wrong. I don't know what else to do. Maybe I don't believe in what you're doing. I don't understand in what you're doing, but maybe, you could figure it out. And I had a session, and this was actually email. So two things I want to say when you were talking about how uncomfortable it is, and I know we're digressing. I love doing Zoom sessions. I
Okay,
do
cool. I
sessions
was
in
going to ask
person.
you, are you
I
just
do
in
Zoom
person?
sessions. No, I do in person. I do Zoom and I do email. My favorite is Zoom. Okay. Because, to your point, when you unearthing all that trauma and all that gunk, I want you comfortable. I
Yeah,
want you in your home, in your comfortable chair, with your
yeah,
favorite mug, with your blanket. I don't want you traveling to see me.
yeah.
And then, it's just, but
I
but
agree.
that session, the one I'm talking about with my client, that was an email session. I do those too because I am connecting to client's subconscious mind, and in subconscious mind, I ask for permission, and it gives me permission. There's no time or space. We're all the same energy.
Okay,
Remember, we're
so
all the
do you
same.
guys get that? Like, do you get that at an unconscious level, we have a higher self? And
Yes.
so when a practitioner can access that level of consciousness and can connect, ask for permission, and they do this through muscle testing and
Hmm.
surrogate muscle testing, right? So
Yes.
with permission, and the results come, depending on how you muscle test, that you can communicate with someone's higher self, their soul, ask for permission. And then through that,
Exactly.
you are now able to energetically work with clients
Yep.
through time space. Like that is a huge filter. So I want you guys to open up your mindset to that is a possibility. Like you don't have to be in person with somebody. It's
No.
nice, but it's not necessary. Like you don't have to be. And I
And a
feel
lot
like
of people, yeah.
I love the fact that we've been able to like bring that to more of the forefront, because my modality is the same way. Doing it in person was great, but then yeah, clients had to go home and drive sometimes an hour. I remember
Exactly.
one day, one lady had to drive 3 hours. She, and she's like, I
Mhm.
had to stop and pull over. I was so tired. I'm like, oh my god. So,
Exactly.
or when clients come
Exactly.
to my
Yeah.
house, I'm like, stay, have a bath, like relax, like don't rush
Mhm.
home. So I like working with clients like that too. Like you said, they just have to like walk to their bath or whatever.
And be comfortable.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
like having
Exactly.
massages in my house for that reason too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Because you're at home. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't have to drive or get stressed by driving after all that beautiful massage, right?
I know.
So,
Yeah.
no,
So I
that
was
makes
working.
sense.
Sorry, I
No,
interrupted
no, go
you.
on.
So I was working with the client by email, and I sent her a summary. I send a summary after each session, whether it's Zoom or whatever. I always send a summary because sometimes people need to look over it 2 days later, 3 days later, and say, "Oh, I know what that was." So she responds, says, "No, this doesn't resonate." And I said, "Okay, I tried. Can't win them all." Then literally 2 days later, I get a text from her, and I saved the text because it's one of my prized, most prized reviews. She said, "I don't know what you did. I don't know, but my pain is gone, and I am sorry I told you that it doesn't resonate. Everything I now understand all of these things. I just did not want to acknowledge it."
Yes.
And it was like, and she says, "Can you work with my daughter?" And this is the best. She came to me saying, "I don't believe in what you do. I don't know what you do." And then she came out saying, "It's incredible.
It's a
Can you work with my
huge
daughter?
believer.
Can you
Yeah.
work with my child?" It doesn't take like,
We don't know what we don't know. Like
mhm,
unconscious is out of your awareness. Like your unconscious is way more powerful than your pea brain that you think knows all. It doesn't. Your
exactly.
unconscious knows everything. It will tell you, it will direct you, it will show you, it will attract you everything that you need. And so I'm not surprised that,
Hmm.
and your pain, that could be where the energetics, the emotion
Yes.
is stored. That's the part.
Yes.
That's the part, right? So it's
Yeah.
interesting that I
Yeah.
don't have pain in my elbow, but I'm like, who knows? When if ever I do, I'm going to be like, okay, right?
Yeah.
Because I just feel like that's an energy thing, and that's the other thing too that I was saying, that the emotion could be there. It has not manifested yet physically.
That's
So
right.
remember that.
That's right.
So yes, you have emotional pain, and or negative emotions or whatever else. But you keep that, you ignore that, and it will manifest physically. Like
100%.
your unconscious is gonna, yeah,
100%.
your
Yes.
unconscious is going to get your attention the easy way or the fucking hard way. And guess what? We've
Yes.
all done it the hard way. And now I'm like, there's easier ways, people. Like,
There's
believe,
easier ways.
open your
There's easier
mind,
ways for sure.
and expand your awareness to easy. It's possible for it to be easy. It might take time, but it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be, you know, a drag. Or, you know what I mean? Like talking about your feelings, blah, blah, blah. That's therapy. Like, so get to the root energetically
Yes,
so that you can
exactly.
start to, you know, address the emotions that are causing the pain. So, you
Yeah, the
know,
beauty of these methods is that you don't need to discuss your trauma.
yeah,
You don't need to go
we don't have to
back
go
and
there.
relive it.
Yeah,
No, you don't.
no,
And a lot
that's
of times I
therapy.
don't know exactly. Which you know what, there's
Which
time and
I love
space for
therapy.
that.
Don't get me wrong. I love therapy. I've done
There's nothing
therapy.
wrong with it.
No,
Yes.
but to get to the
And you know,
root, it's not through therapy. Therapy just talks about the problem.
a
You don't.
lot of my a lot of my clients are therapists. A lot of my
Because
clients are therapists. They
they
know what
know.
they
They
know.
know. Yeah. They know. I've worked with therapists too. They know. They're like, there's something deeper because they've tried
There's something
everything.
deeper.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those
Exactly.
those
Exactly.
communication skills and
And
tools,
and
practices.
also, sorry.
It's
And I
okay.
also think that a lot of people are reluctant to go into energy healing because, for example, they're afraid that we're going to tell them, you need to stop your medication. You can't take this medication. I would never tell someone that. If you have a condition and you have a doctor that you trust and they
Mm-hmm.
put you on medication, I
Mm-hmm.
will never in a million years tell someone to stop taking that. What I'm offering is additional help to help you identify what's really causing your condition, what's
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
that condition. And I've had people had to eventually, with years, get off their antidepressant medication with the doctor. They were working with the doctor on reducing the dosage and eventually being taken off completely. But we were unleashing and removing all this energetic gunk that was
Yeah.
contributing.
Absolutely. Like sometimes
Yeah,
maybe, you know, you get to a point where you need it. You need it, right?
yeah,
You've done
nothing
all
wrong
the
with that.
things. You
Nothing
haven't
wrong
met
with that.
Mary yet. You've done all the things and you just, Mary hasn't come into your world because you're not ready yet. And then Mary comes into your world. I have worked with doctors too. I have like, you know, with clients, I'm like, you got to work with your doctor. You're on medication. We're going to work with your doctor. You tell them all the things that you're doing, all the things,
Exactly.
whatever else.
Hmm.
And then, you know, because once you heal or resolve, let's call resolve the issue
Resolve.
that caused the need for medication in the first place, you may find later on that you don't need it anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So it's medication is temporary. I hate to think that medication is long term because our bodies are not, you don't need to do that because your body is telling you what's wrong. We're ignoring
Exactly.
it. You are putting your faith and trust into some institution outside of you, the medical system,
Yep.
when your body has been telling you all along, and then you find out what it is, you're like, oh my God. And it's an unconscious thing. So it is something that maybe, you know, and unconscious is like 0 to 7 years old. It's out of your awareness. You don't remember three,
Yeah.
4, 2, 1 in the womb. Like, how do you remember that? So, right?
Mhm.
Sure, there's things that happen to people after later on as adults that are traumatic and stuff like that. But if you've had chronic pain or depression or something for many, many, many years, I would just assume that it's a childhood thing.
Yeah.
Later on in life, like, trust me, divorce is a trauma, right?
Tell me about it.
That was
Oof.
my big thing, right? Like,
That was my
you
when
know,
my panic attack started.
yeah, right. So there's different traumas at different levels that maybe there's different because you said that there's the emotion code, there's the
Yeah.
body code. Didn't you say there was another one? I think I
There's a
had it in
belief
here.
code that's
Belief code.
built on top of that that identifies your subconscious negative beliefs that are causing all these issues, that are contributing to all these issues, because everything comes down to your negative beliefs. Exactly.
Right. What you believe to be true. And if you at some point in your life
Subconsciously.
bought
Subconsciously.
bought
Yes.
into or one of the greatest examples I like to give is like to a child who maybe ate too many cookies, right? So let's say you were little
Mhm.
and your mom made cookies and you ate them all. You ate them all because you were like, these are the best cookies ever. I love my mom. I'm just going to eat all the cookies. And you got in trouble. Like, how dare you? You're a pig. How could you eat all the cookies? You're so insensitive. You didn't think about anybody else. That's the kind of shit. And moms, like, I'm not here to tell moms, like we go off on our kids sometimes, but that stuff sticks and it
Yes.
stays. And it's like, and if you're constantly telling, like, my thing with my kids, I'll be honest, because I'm not perfect, is I'm always like, oh my God, you're so disgusting. I always tell them they're disgusting. I'm like, you guys are disgusting. I'm like, that's okay. I have put aside lots of money for all your training, all your therapy, all your emotion codes. I'm going to send them to you, Mary, too,
No
because
problem.
yeah, because that's with all the love in our heart, we're trying to teach our kids a lesson, but we hurt them without realizing, right? So all of a sudden now we're like, oh my God, I'm never going to eat another cookie again, or shamed of ever eating cookies. Like, it's that kind of little thing that, creates the pattern, the shame, right? The embarrassment. I couldn't, how are you ever going to eat a cookie for the fear that somebody would ever, get mad at you like that again? And it
Yeah.
comes from the person you love the most, right?
Yeah.
And so, those kinds of things are what really sets us up, like those little limiting beliefs, like,
Yes.
trying to, and it's hard being on pins and needles because we have our own programming and we have our, you know what I mean? And we have our own traumas and like,
Hmm.
we're doing the best that we can again with the
Yes,
skills and tools that
absolutely.
we have. So,
Absolutely.
like, but when that stuff starts to
Mhm.
manifest, and so same with my daughters, like, so I know all this stuff and I'm always like paying attention so that when things show up, I'm like, okay, let's go and deal with that because whatever else, because I know I'm at the root of it. Let go, right? And I try to be very forgiving to my mother, who, with her best efforts or
She
whatever
did
else,
the best she could. Yes.
you know,
Sometimes the best is not good enough.
yeah, right,
Not intentionally.
yes,
My mom did best she knew how.
right.
But
Like, we're
am I
human.
scarred? Yes. Do I
Parents are
fucked up?
human. I
Yes.
know. And even though we know this, even though I
Hmm.
know this stuff, I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, so, when you know better, you do better and whatever else. So, but to know that when you're not feeling great and you just can't shake it off and it's, starting to affect you and you're just
Yes.
blue and down and, or you start getting sick regularly, like, there's something deeper. Like,
Yes.
just know that, you know, yeah, you have a cold, it could have been an emotional upset that caused the cold, not
Yes.
necessarily because you went outside or not necessarily because you ate too much sugar. Like,
You don't know. You just don't
when,
know.
when
It
we
could
get
be
ups-
anything. Yes.
when we get upset, our immune system gets compromised, right? And if
Yes.
we're
Mhm.
not paying attention and we just ignore, because we do that too, toxic positivity, you were talking about, just think positive,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're like, oh, I'm just going to not worry about it, I'm just going to not think about it, and you push it aside. That's when you get sick. That's when your
Yes.
body says, you
Mhm.
need to rest, you need to maybe,
You need to do something.
acknowledge,
Yes.
engage, because your body will tell you no, because
Yeah.
your body doesn't like to live in an unhealthy state, so it's going to create pain, so you pay attention.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say also, you brought this up. You reminded me rather. All these kids who were homeschooled, I mean, not homeschooled, home for 2 years during the pandemic, now they had to go back to school. They experienced massive anxiety. They're scared out of their minds. They're no longer used to going to school and being in a classroom full of people. What about kids who never even had a chance to start school in person? And there were all these kids, they experience tremendous amount of anxiety that contributes to their school performance and stomach issues and all kinds of stuff. I work with a lot of kids, and the reason I love this, it's because they're younger, so they haven't accumulated as much gunk. So it takes significantly less for them to get rid of it. So I
Right.
see,
Yes. Kids are,
yes,
yeah. They have a less weighted,
less weighted, exactly. They don't have all this life experiences
I have,
yet.
my niece had a baby in the pandemic. So for the first year of that child's life, it only knew a world of masks. Like, it didn't
Oh
know
my
a
God.
world where it
I
saw
can't
faces.
imagine.
No. And so when we started to take our masks off, like she just would stare at people because then she could start to see smiles and faces and like lips and movement and teeth. And you know what I mean? For a year, this is all she saw of the world. Like eyes. That was it. So stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
For a
it really
1 year
makes an
old.
impact. Yes.
Yeah, totally does. And then all of a sudden, everyone's face is showing, and you're like, "What's going on?" Like,
Mhm.
first there was nobody's faces. Now I can see why you were probably hiding your face because you know. And now you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy. And so things like that, like
Yes.
traumas in life affect us in so many ways, and it's nothing to be ashamed at. Like, I love
No.
the fact that we've been able to have a nice little laugh about it all, and just the sooner you can deal with it and face it and move on, like that's my jam. Like, I don't give a shit how bad it is. Give it to me. Let's get it over with and let's move on, because we
Mhm.
all have wonderful lives that we have to live. Like, we are these miracles. We are all a miracle in this round earth that orbits the sun, floating in the sky, like in the universe. Like, we are miracles, and we are
Yeah.
getting caught up and stressed up on some really insignificant shit.
And I think
So
also people are afraid of what's going to come up, like you said.
yes,
And
yeah,
I've seen it all. I am the most not judgmental person. I
yes,
don't care what comes up.
yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what we on earth. We need to
Yeah.
clear
And
that
there's
out.
shame there for sure. There's
Yeah,
shame. And that's the emotion, like in terms of like, that's why I have that attitude of like, but okay, be ashamed of it. But how's that serving you? How's that working for you?
it's
Hiding
not.
and, being afraid that I pretty much think I've heard it all,
Yeah,
maybe different variations. And it's like, okay, yes, it's terrible, but wouldn't it be great if you could unburden yourself of that so that you can now move on and be the wife and mom and woman
just a
that
person that
you're
you,
truly
yeah,
meant to be, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
life is too short. Life really is too short to just not be living life in joy and peace. Like, just
Hmm.
those two things. Have peace of mind where you can sleep and not worry and be safe. I think a lot of it is safety, Mary. Like feeling safe to
Totally. To be
explore
you, to
emotions.
feel the way you
Yeah,
feel, and just
be authentic,
experience the world the way that
not
you
worry
want
about what
to.
other people think. Like, just start the journey. Just start somewhere, even if it's
Yeah,
just reaching out to Mary to, have a conversation, to ask her a few questions like, what
yeah.
about this? Because I'm telling you, if you can think of it, it ain't it. If
Hmm.
you want to get to the unconscious root and you think that, oh, it's about this,
No, it's not.
I I had an event in my childhood. It was a neighborhood boy. It wasn't like an old creepy man or anything like that, but it was like an older teenage boy. And I had an event, and I used to think for the longest time, like, was that thing that happened with that boy? Like, is that what's at the root of this? Never, ever, ever came up. It was always something else. And then eventually it did. Eventually it was a thing that happened and whatever else, and cleared it, whatever, let it go. But if you can think of it, it's probably not it. It's probably something
Exactly.
earlier that is the
Exactly.
precursor maybe to that. Like,
Hmm.
you know, because we create, we are the
Yes.
makers of our destiny. We're so powerful, and all our energy is being taken up, worried, and, you know, stuck in this old stuff. And so when you clear it up energetically, what happens when you clear all that energy out, Mary?
Yeah, you could sleep again and feel safe and be you and love life and enjoy it. And you
And
know
do
what else?
things.
And you know what else? What happens is that you're able to go through your days and not get so emotionally agitated by the same things that
Oh my God,
would
calmer.
normally
You're
drive you
calmer.
nuts. Yes. Yes. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Yeah, people will still cut you off in traffic. But how are you going to react? Is it going to ruin your
Yes.
day?
Yes.
Or are you going to say, okay, what an asshole?
I love this. I have loved this whole conversation with you,
I
Mary. I
loved it
told
too.
Mary
Thank
in
you.
the
This was
beginning, I'm like,
great.
it's my new soul
This is great.
sister.
Yes,
Well,
this
if
is
you have
great. I
more
love it.
questions for Mary, I didn't even look over to our Facebook page to see if anybody has made any
We're
comments or
just
anything.
enjoying a
Oh,
conversation. We're
whatever.
just talking.
It's there. We're recording there. So reach out to Mary. She's in the group. She's in the
Yes,
inner motion wellness group. So if you have some questions for her, or if you have,
absolutely.
you want to send people her way because or whatever it else, please do. And thank you so much, Mary,
Thank
for
you. Thank
being
you for
here
having me. So
and sharing your expertise.
my consultations are always free. So I talk to
Okay,
people,
perfect.
and
There
my
we go.
first session is $25 because I want to make sure people are comfortable with what we're doing. So I feel like
Okay.
they're not spending their life savings on testing out this new thing that may or may not help them. Usually does, but not everything is for everyone. So there's that.
Right.
Thank
There
you
you
for
go. It
having me.
gives
This
you
was
an
amazing.
opportunity. So nice
Yeah.
to connect with you, Mary. Keep
Thank
in
you.
touch,
Take care.
and
Yes.
we'll see you soon. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. I see.